Explain to the folks at home what podcasting is.
Podcasting, to be honest,
That's your camera.
we've never explained it. This is actually a revelation I just had. We've never explained the podcasting.
What is
See what I'm saying?
YouTube versus a podcast? I think
that
is
was
kind
a
of what
good
it
one.
boils.
Yeah, you're
So
right,
like, but that's kind of like what it boils down to, right? Is that like creating video content versus
Here it is.
Yeah.
Podcasts are not podcasts anymore. Like, it's not like a guy who wants to curse, so they're not going to go on Sirius and they just start a podcast.
It's not like radio.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Or like, well, you can curse on Sirius, but you see what I'm saying. Like, it's not people who get kicked off Sirius and then they are like, I'll just do it on the internet on my own server or like my own website. That's not podcasting anymore. Like, old head podcast people will be like, "That's podcasting is audio only." No, it's not. It used to be, but now it's not. Why do they all have video versions then? If it's like, just because there's video cameras recording the podcast doesn't mean it's not a podcast. So a podcast is just a recorded conversation that is now sometimes has video cameras around it, and then there's an intro. There's an outro, there's a title, and a logo. And that's a podcast.
It seems like a podcast is really just structure injected to video, If you want to do video, like, what is it going to be,
Well, it could be like a YouTube video. That's where it's a little bit different, which is highly scripted.
So, like, if you wanted to do something...
No, the line is blurred, man.
Yeah,
I'm agnostic, too.
So like, if you wanted to do something, right, like where we just had a podcasting company and you're like, well, like, I have this business partner of mine and we have, like, a really good rapport and we just enjoy being on camera and blah, 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 and we could do this. But, it's like, for, like, the value add in terms of, like, a lot of people that are, like, maybe solo, it's like, it's like, oh, start a podcast and it seems like this involved thing, but it's like really starting a podcast is sort of just slang for just jumping into video.
Yeah.
And the podcast is just just adding like a sort of structure.
Yes.
Or consistency to it, at least with your audience, of saying it's weekly or bi-weekly or something like that.
And let's look at the alternative. The alternative is, okay, so you're already making some text posts and things like that, right? You're a founder. Maybe you're a solopreneur, but you're moving up to founder CEO level. For people who are already founder CEO level, you've considered the organic content thing. Now you're probably doing it, right? Especially in B2B. So now some people, though, are saying, hey, why don't you just do this? Just pull it out, pull out the phone, just do a 1-minute video and then just post that. Okay. That gets pretty repetitive pretty fast.
Yeah, what do you do it about? Where does it go?
So and sure, you can just take your text post and read it off and just like have that as a way to come in and as a way
have
to
have that Dracula lighting.
Have that
where it hits the forehead
and
so
you just
hard.
Put that on the setting, you just lower the aperture.
I mean, I really don't mean to be mean, but it's like there's some people that do video and there's no strategy behind it.
But my point though is that, would you rather do that and record a ton of different videos where, sure, you can post the video like next month again because not that many people saw it because only 5 to 10% of your audience saw it, sure.
True.
Or would you rather just sit down, record one long video, and then pay somebody to cut it all up, and then the posts that you make are just the text version of what's in that video. Mm-hmm. So now you hit people on two angles. You hit people who are ready to consume the video, who are going to be deeper in the funnel anyway, because they want to actually hear you say it and see you say it.
Yeah.
And then you're also going to hit the people that say, I'm not ready for that yet. I just am browsing, but I'll just read some of the text. I would just so much rather do that. I'd rather create posts for my content than create content for my post, right?
It's all work. It's all work,
but it's personality based, right? So like, sure, the one-off videos might work for you. You might love just getting in and out in 60 seconds, and you don't mind doing 30 of those. You don't mind doing 20 of those. For us and our clients, like, we would rather just have something a little bit longer where we can just get into the conversation. And sure, it's still formatted, there's still bullet points, right? But it's not overly scripted and it's not under formatted, right? So it's that perfect middle ground. I would just rather do that. But that's why we exist, and that's why other companies exist that do different things,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's like you said, it's that perfect strike between, like loosely organizing it and just having a video series that doesn't really have any sort of like clear objective,
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of people like, okay, like if you don't want to get involved in video, don't get involved in video. Like that's all cool.
Yeah.
Like seriously. But I feel like there's a lot of people that do get involved in it and they feel an obligation, like it's a chore to just have to do short clips and they don't really know what to do with it. If you do an episode, right? Like, you know, if I don't know you and I do an episode with you, I can from Opus, right? An AI platform. I can get, you know, 10 clips and 4 or 5 of those are going to be usable.
Yep.
Or I could even hack it and just pick the moments that I like from that episode, take a little bit of my own time and plug that right into Opus. It's going to put the captions on it. It's going to clean it all up. You know, and then I'm going to be able to get that content out of there. And, you know, it's not even going to be something where it's like, I release my new episode. You could just at least have, like, say, this is going to be my episode. This is the topic that I cover. And then these are the clips that fall under this topic.
Yes.
Right? So you don't need to do the whole thing with us where you do, like, a launch and you say, here's my new episode. And I do this and I do all the guest highlights. It could just be a way for you to have sort of a library of you talking, sort of your own TED Talks about various aspects of your niche, your industry, showcasing your expertise, and then you can cut it up into clips and you can, and that's what you feed your LinkedIn audience, or that's what you feed, you know, the people that are engaging with you every day.
Yes.
Right? You know?
Yeah. And if you wanted to solve that, okay, yes, it can solve that. Then if you want to have on top of that, this group of people who are waiting every week to hear you talk about these things, then now let's actually create a podcast. But it's cool either way. You can do the first version for a year and just do episodes when you feel like it, do them when you need more content, do them when you're inspired to do it.
You could do that all the time, by the way. You wouldn't even need to make a commitment. You could just do that to make video content. But go ahead.
Perfect. No, perfect. And imagine you doing that for a year. I guarantee you come up with a pretty good podcast concept after a year of doing that.
Yeah, or some great
or a
content,
month of doing it,
or some great content that's an awesome
Yes.
1-2 punch to your LinkedIn post.
Boom.
Right?
Boom.
We talk about this all the time with our PLA clients. Is making your podcast content your LinkedIn content, or your businesses or your personal.
And that's what we're helping companies
Yeah.
do, right? What we do is we are specialists. Like, we specialize in a certain thing, which is bringing video podcasting to companies as a organic content strategy to do whatever they want that to do. It could be a brand and marketing play. It could be a sales and lead gen play. It's what the goal is. I'm good with whatever your goal is. We're going to help you figure that out, but different companies have different goals. But it's a company isn't required to know how to do all of this stuff. That's why we help, right? It's like you already have to run an entire marketing arm of a company, right?
Which is insane.
Which is a lot of work.
So many different
and like
considerations.
we were saying the other day, it's like marketers they're overtaxed. Talking about AI, it's like, what are you supposed to use? What are you supposed to learn every single marketing AI tool by like next week?
Look at a job post for a marketing coordinator.
Boom.
It's insane.
Yep.
Not only do you need to be able to graphic design, you're going to be doing customer service, you're going to be doing engagement, you're going to be doing the strategy, you're going to be doing the copywriting, you're going to be doing not only shooting the video, but you're going to be doing the video editing. You need to be the audio editing. You're going to be doing the newsletter and the blog writing, which is the copywriting as well. You're going to need to be doing all of this.
But then imagine even just overseeing all of that, even if you're not even
imagine overseeing all of it, and then imagine so like we could poke holes in this with the copywriting and say maybe AI can fill in some of these holes. But if you're talking about video editing and audio editing, I'm not convinced that the tools that you see on Riverside and some of these other programs, that they're really able to do this to the same degree that a human being
No,
is.
AI does not replace people. It doesn't.
And that hurts us. We would want robots to be able to say, hey, robot.
And the AI influencers want that, though. The AI influencers are trying to tell you that, oh, no, it will. Okay. But not in this context. It's not like this. This is how, like, some people will push back when I say this. No. If you think AI is going to replace you as the content creator, you're delusional, and you already click off this video. Just we're not in the same.
There's no shot.
You're in a different realm, and I'm not with you. What it will do is help you a lot. It will be like in a batting cage where the machine throws you the ball and you're hitting the ball.
Yeah.
That's what AI is.
That's what it is. And like you said, it's designed to be there to support you.
Yes.
Right?
Boom.
So it's going to be very obvious, the newsletters or the LinkedIn posts that are completely AI generated, right? And we even
100%.
talked to this about our clients, and like, you know, if you talk about like Cast Magic or any sort of like AI clip that combs through
Yep.
a large raw recording and finds
Descript, Cast
highlightable.
Magic, Opus, any of
For
the big
sure,
ones.
right?
Yep.
You know, a lot of that's going to be, it's not going to be 100%. It's going to be at best 80%.
Yes.
And you're going to need to go through and check some of their work. But it's going to be, I mean, you're talking about a budget that's, you know, you're talking about somebody that doesn't feel fatigue, somebody. You're talking about something that doesn't feel fatigue.
Yep.
You know, that's
Doesn't
going to
need
be able
food,
to spit
doesn't
this
need
out.
water. Yeah.
No, but even more than that, right? You know,
Yeah.
like they can spit this out, you know, like no problem. And you're talking about a subscription. You know, if audio editing, if video editing can get up to that, that's going to be crazy for our industry. But
Yeah.
for right now, clip making and show note writing compared, you know, when you have a large piece of media,
Yep.
seems to be pretty good. But you
Yep.
just need to go through it and just make sure that, you know, because the one big thing, and I'll add this real quick because I know I've been verbose.
No, you're good.
The one thing I noticed with ChatGPT, and if you're a real one and if you've used AI, you've noticed this, is it will take something and it will over-explain it. So it'll take something, well, I'll say like how to grow a podcast, right? And instead of taking it into maybe 3 broad headlines, it'll take it into 6, but it'll rerun over some of the points that it's already brought up, but just in a different way, right? With different words. Which, and I'll give it credit, right? Because that does dazzle a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, and you can have just like a lot to say, and you can just be like, look, I posted today, and it's a big and that's impressive, right? But yeah, like, so basically the headline is, you know, like the AI that you can use right now, you do need to oversee it a little bit.
Yes.
But that budget and that time budget and that money budget is going to be so much lower in terms of a copywriter and a clip maker.
Yeah.
Is going to be so much lower, which I think that's where they're really going to cash in. Audio and video editing, that's got to be sophisticated.
Yeah.
I mean, to make notes, to say, hey, you know, I want these sorts of lower thirds. I want these sort of, you know, the ums and the ahs. I don't know.
It's not even that good.
It's sophisticated. No, but I'm saying it is sophisticated. It is.
I'm impressed.
But I'm saying, I'm saying
all of this.
I don't think that really moves it in terms of like, okay, so
Yes.
now you started a podcast and you have a machine that removes the ums and the ahs.
Yep.
I don't think that cleans up the audio or the video enough or makes it watchable enough. Like, I don't think a machine can do that yet.
No.
So that's the only rider with it. But AI is here in terms of like, you know, just doing some bulk work. Like when we try to write descriptions or intros or stuff like that, like ChatGPT can be a great way to just
Yes.
generate a bunch of variety for you to pick through.
Yes, and again, this is what we're doing with companies right now, which is they don't have the time to go through all of these tools. So we can sit down, right? Like if we have a company on retainer, we are sitting down, like a part of our process is going, hey, we spent a few hours with these tools. Let me just show you the highlights here and how you guys can use it.
Yeah,
you
and what works.
And what works, because you're trying to, again, you have the CMO. Under the CMO, you have that marketing director. That marketing director is probably doing some content, like is probably editing some stuff, modifying
1,000
some posts,
feet strategy
posting some
shit,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, but like they might also be in the weeds. They don't have time to comb through every single podcast AI tool just because you guys have a podcast.
Yeah.
So then that's where we'll come in and we'll give you what you need to know, which is like, here, don't use this feature doesn't work on this one, but this one does, and showing you, and the before and after is, here's what your show notes were before, here's what your show notes are now for your podcast, and now they're optimized for SEO because this AI tool helped you, and then you went in and actually did the final editing before it went out. But none of that would have happened if we didn't take the time to sit down and learn these tools. And if you're the CMO looking to be the talent, or if you're the founder looking to be the talent, that's why we're helping teams do this, because that's our job, right? It's not even your job. to know these things and take the time on a Saturday morning for 3
out.
hours to do it. Like, that's why we specialize here, right? That's why you have the marketer who's really good at paid ads. Like, I know you're trying to get them to like write the show notes, but like, it's all good. Like, we'll come and help. And so I always like to add that perspective just to talk, because we never talk about what we do like in detail. And so just to give that example of like, yeah, that's, if there is, to Alex Sheridan's point, if there is a company and they say, nah, we don't really mess with like AI stuff, I agree with him. That's a red flag. And this is
Skynet. Skynet. Watch Terminator. Check it out. Ex Machina. Well, that's a huge spoiler for Ex Machina, but yeah. Robots are not to be trusted, but when it comes to this sort of bulk work,
yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, we've talked too with people like, even the audio editing, maybe there can be some bulk work for the audio editing.
Oh, there's a middle ground, man.
Eliminating background noise.
I'm an audio
engineer.
Love,
and the stuff that's simple and that takes time for, like in terms of the picking up garbage for stuff like that, that's what I really support it for. But even if ChatGPT was super sophisticated and it could write the show notes perfectly,
yes.
I still think it wouldn't really be able to 100% replace what you'd be able to write for those show notes.
You'd be able to write for this.
No, but seriously, all joking aside, like the authenticity, I think like that you do need like a final pass for that.
It's not a replace thing, dude.
And I understand,
totally
for some people, writing is really, really, really fucking annoying. Yeah. It really is. Like starting like a hook or trying to like just summarize stuff. Like it's stuff that I've gotten used to over a couple years. I was a good writer, and it took me a while to get used to that as well.
Well, especially copy.
Yeah. No, exactly. And like summarizing an episode and seeing like what you wanted. Like for me, like it's sort of like it's a very weird muscle to train. It really is. So I understand people's trepidation with it. I understand why people start to do it and they feel like this isn't working, this isn't good, and I don't like this. And that's where so I think it's a good way to break through that and then just like start rolling from there.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about, jumping it up into the hook and all that. You kind of just work with what it gives you and then customize from there.
Yeah.
So that's where I think AI is really beautiful is eliminating that slop work.
Yes.
But I never want the authenticity to completely vacate.
No, if AI is like writing your content
or your business, right? Like, so that's the thing, right? Like, boom. So like us doing this, right? It's like, okay, so we could do like AI could replace this, and that, but it's like I wouldn't, even though it does take us time and effort to do this. To do LinkedIn or whatever, right? I wouldn't want to replace that authenticity or the fact that we're talking to our audience or the fact that you and I have that experience talking to our audience where we have firsthand knowledge of the people that we're talking to, of the circumstances that they come from, the problems that they face. I would feel uncomfortable leaving that up to machine learning. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Even if it spit out and said, here's what your audience, here's the descriptors for your audience, here's what they're interested in, there would be a weird patriot side of me that would be like, well, I want to audit this myself. I want to, you know what I'm saying? There is something to that where like I understand like, the objective or the subjective bias, but I want to experience that firsthand. I want to be in the trenches with people even that say no. Because why do you say no? I want to know that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean
everything about you, for yes or no, either way.
Yep. And there's people it's like Apple and Amazon have automated, especially Amazon, like so many things.
For sure.
There's people making their ads. You know what I'm saying? Like they're one of the biggest companies that's ever existed, yet there's human beings writing the copy for the ads. It's like
it could be a country, basically. I feel like they're just going to buy.
For real, man.
I feel like Amazon is going to buy a country or something, and just like a country that's bankrupt and really doing very poorly, and they're like, we'll buy it for you, and we'll run it, and you can still run it, but like we'll like absorb your debt, and then we'll take like 15%
maybe I'm wrong,
of the country.
dude. Maybe it will be robots only though.
It's just Amazon robots colonizing.
But like say to the point of somebody like asking, why do we use these mics like this, right? It's like, well, this is what we feel comfortable doing, and also like it's probably breaking the mold a little bit. You don't see people just holding mics like this all the time on like in podcasting, let alone LinkedIn.
Plus, you can't
And
do
so
this. I can't do that.
You guys can't do it. We can.
We can. So we have that flexibility, and there's an assailant burst through this
But I'm
door.
saying, like, with AI, I'm saying, like, to relate it to that, they're adding this. It's the details and the nuanced human small touches that make a lot of these things great, and honestly, that make all companies great. Any great company is because of the humans and the people in it. So if you're trying to replace anything within that with AI, you're replacing the thing that makes your company great, and that's sad to think that you're going to do it with, some kind of bot. And so we feel the same way with content. Use it to help you, use it to guide you, use it to come up with an idea when you don't have one. But the more human touch you have, the better, because people are buying from people. People are buying from Apple's website, but when you go into an Apple store, these people are trained like there's no tomorrow. They have certain things they have to say. Chick-fil-A, they have to tell you, oh, it's my pleasure.
My cousin's an Apple genius. Shout out Zach Gallagher.
Shout out Zach, dude.
Bought a house off an Apple income.
That's funny. You guys rhyme. It's a Zach and Jack type of.
Yeah, well, we're related. It's a funny thing.
That actually does make sense. Yeah.
Well, with the first names you were saying.
Yes, the first names.
That was rude.
But all good. We'll get past it.
The rudeness.
but man, it's like that when you even when you go to the Apple store, you like expect that person to like help you with your urgent Apple need. Like if you have to go to like a computer, it wouldn't be Apple. You know what I'm saying? Like if you have to go to a kiosk, it wouldn't be Apple. There needs to be those people there with the shirts and they have t-shirts,
It's a very unique experience.
And so AI is the same way. It's like it's just an add-on, right? Like
No, yeah, and even if you look at like, ChatGPT, as sophisticated as you could purport it to be.
That's good plosive right there.
That would be that's good plosive for you guys out there.
Sorry,
for you podcasts, for all you would be podcast professionals. But yeah, in terms of like the Apple experience, like that's like a very unique thing to like how that company runs, and I feel like AI is just something that kind of just collects everything that humans have already made.
Yeah.
So like even though it does spit it out very quick, which is awesome for like a LinkedIn post, right? Like if you're like kind of pressed for that and you just need to gather a bunch of information and you don't want to like collect it all in your head. But it's like even at that, it's gathering a bunch of information that really at the end of the day humans have gathered. So they should be destroyed. They should be destroyed.
I think that's the end of the episode.
No, I didn't know where else to go with AI. I'm not trying to be difficult
honestly,
with you, but
we did it, guys. Listen, like I said, if you're at the end of this episode and you went through the whole thing instead of just watching clips, you're just a real one. I don't know.
That's wild. That they went through this entire
but some
episode.
people did for the last one, so we got to say. I mean, shout out to you guys. But yeah, I mean, we treaded, then we retreaded, and the moral of the story is yes, it's going to help you. Again, I'll always reference my friend Ruben on LinkedIn, who is this massive AI enthusiast, and I talk shit on him all the time because I'm like, dude, no, this doesn't look good. He posts a video of like, look, it's an AI person who looks like movies are way better than this.
It's not good.
It's not good. It's like, dude, you're sure people are just like, oh my God, wow, so cool. Like, yes, but nobody's using it for anything. So again, hey, wait 10 years, then I'll be impressed. Like at the end of the day, please just use it to help you. It's not an end all be all.
Watch The Matrix. And
I'm done.
Watch The Matrix and get back to me.
Watch The Matrix and get back.
Watch The Matrix trilogy and get back to me. Actually,
and Terminator.
And Terminator. And Terminator. Watch. Outro. Call to action. Watch the Matrix trilogy and the Terminator series, because I think it's like 5 or 6 movies at this point.
That's nothing. Everybody has time for that.
That is nothing.